Hello, loves. Welcome back to Lucy Superfox Show. My name is Lucy Superfox, and this is my channel and podcast. So on today's episode, I want to dive into what I'm calling lone wolf energy. And the truth is, if you're listening to this podcast, you're a regular listener, then I know that you are a lone wolf, because that's just how the law of attraction works. Just like an algorithm, you only plug into and connect to what you're interested in. And so as a lone wolf myself, I'm sure there's something I'm going to say that's going to resonate with you today and allow you to feel that little bit freer and a little bit more powerful. Welcome to my sofa in my kitchen with my dogs. Well, 2 of 3. The third one is very shy. He hates cameras. He's always hiding away. But these two, because it's cozy and raining, they wanted to get snuggled up. So here we are. So on today's episode, I wanted to talk a little bit about lone wolf energy. And the energy of being a lone wolf, I think sometimes we kind of think of it as someone who's aloof or mysterious or somebody that we don't get to know and don't get to connect with. And actually, I give massive shout out to my therapist. She was my psychotherapist for a number of years. Said to me once when I was really struggling with the fact that I never felt like I fitted in groups. I never felt like I was part of anything bigger or for long periods of time. I massively struggled to keep friendships long term. And I could never really figure out why. And I would always be quite hurt by the process and feel quite rejected when friendships would end, or, when you broke up with someone and then those people didn't stay in touch, or when something would happen and you'd be friends with someone because of a situation and then there would be nothing after. And I really struggled with this for a long time. And I also really struggled in business when I would have, extended collaborations with people. I would struggle with, not taking over and not being in control. And I had such a big vision for things. And I could never really put my finger on why I never felt like I could, be part of a group. Like when you see those groups of friends who go on vacation together, and the truth is that's never really happened to me. I've always felt like an outsider. I've always felt like somebody who was never part of the crew, right? And even when I was part of groups and crews, I never felt part of the crew, right? And I think that's the difference. It's how you feel. It's not the fact. And so, but she said to me, she was like, but you're a lone wolf. And that's just how you roll. And as much as it made me a bit sad at the time to think, oh, that's sad that I'm going to kind of have to do everything on my own, what it really allowed me to feel into was it's okay not to need to live your life by other people's measures. That it's okay not to need to be part of something in order to feel valued and important. That it's okay to not have a million friends and that doesn't mean anything about you. And that if actually the way that you believe and what you do stands out from other people, that doesn't mean you're wrong. And so really wrapping my head around this lone wolf energy has actually really given me an abundant amount of freedom. And so it's never surprising to me that when clients come to me for a discovery call, like in root cause therapy, they'll say things like, I just don't feel like I have many friends. I just don't feel like I'm very connected to anyone. I've got like a handful of people, but I don't always feel safe to lean on them. And I'm like, well, babe, you're a lone wolf, right? And that's because normally lone wolves are strong thinkers. They can be all human design types. They can have all attachment styles. They can have all different types of trauma and situations and be from all different walks of life. But the truth is that lone wolf energy is the energy of somebody walking a path that has been untrodden by others. It's walking a path, and maybe sometimes as a trailblazer, but sometimes actually as somebody who just doesn't want to follow along. And that doesn't mean you have to be loud and bolshy about it, but that actually you're just proud to be yourself and that you know that you're enough. And I think where the challenge lies is that women are so aware of this isolation and disconnection, but they're not aware of the fact that actually gives them so much power. And that's because they just haven't embodied that energy of their enoughness yet. They haven't embodied that energy of their power and their grace and their big vision and their ability to be awesome, because they haven't embodied this energy of a lone wolf yet. And that's all it is. It's just that stepping into that energy of accepting I'm a lone wolf because I have these strong opinions, not because people don't like me, not because people don't love me, not because people don't appreciate me, but simply because that is how I'm suited best. And I think that when you can really embody the fact that it's safe to be you, that you're worthy of love, you're good enough, that actually you won't care about whether or not you're included in groups. You won't care about whether or not you're invited to that next wedding or that next thing, because you'll trust and know that what serves you and what's right for you, that you will always be able to create that for yourself. Now, one of the wounds that can come up a lot for the lone wolf women out there is hyper-independence. Is the energy of not I choose to do this by myself, but the energy of I have to do this by myself. That if I don't do this, then nobody will help me. That nobody's going to do it the way I do it. And I still struggle sometimes. I still have to catch myself in this hyper-independence wound. And this hyper-independence wound is barriers. It puts barriers right up and keeps people out, right? It gatekeeps people and keeps them at arm's length because it's unsafe to let people in case they disappoint you, in case they let you down. And I know this because this is something that I've experienced over and over, where I have let people in and they have let me down. But one of the challenges that we experience as lone wolves is that we'll have incredibly high expectations, because we have incredibly high expectations and potential as individuals. And so we expect that same level from other people. The thing is, those people are not you. Those people are not inside your head. Those people do not know what you know and feel what you feel and love what you love. And so we can never hold other people to the same expectations we hold of ourselves. Because every time we do that, we are pretty much guaranteeing to prove ourselves right, that nobody can do it how we do it, because they're not us. But what we have to watch for is when that hyper independence of protecting ourselves, of having our walls up, of not letting people in, becomes something that almost tries to protect us, but actually keeps us away from the life that we want to live. We have to watch out when the difference of being a lone wolf and trusting and knowing in the journey becomes, I'm controlling the journey and I must manipulate and I must keep everything my way, and gatekeeping and guarding. And when we're in the energy of that kind of gatekeeping and guarding and fear, that's when fear is driving the show. That's when it's not coming from authenticity and from passion and from desire and from being that trailblazer. And it's actually coming from wounding. It's coming from being hurt. It's coming from being someone who's been through hard things and hasn't felt supported through those things. And the thing around lone wolves is they struggle to lean on people. They struggle to ask for help. They struggle to admit their challenges or the things they find difficult. And I know, because I'm one of these people. And I know that they struggle, particularly in romantic relationships and in kind of dynamics, to be vulnerable, especially if they've been this high performer, high achiever, deeply powerful woman, and then to be in this energy of like, I feel lost, I feel disconnected, that can be so shameful. It can be so shameful to admit that's how you feel. And shame is going to do so much damage in terms of your ability to trust yourself. And so if you're not getting into the kind of doing the deep work, then you're always going to be living from this energy of wounding. You can be a lone wolf, but you can be a wounded one, always howling and moaning and crying, right? It's not getting you anywhere. Or you can be this powerful, strong, independent trailblazer because you're doing your inner deep work so that you feel safe to be yourself, so that you feel safe to be good enough, so that you feel safe to express when things aren't going well for you and know that it doesn't mean anything about your future. That used to be something I was afraid to do. I was afraid to tell people if I was struggling or if something wasn't going the way I wanted it to go, because people would often try and fix me. Or they try and give me an answer, or they try and tell me why something's happening, or they'd just be fucking toxically positive and I'd want to punch them in the face. And actually, one of the things that lone wolves need is just a space. They just need a space to express themselves where nobody is trying to fix them, where nobody is trying to say, right, this is what we must do right now, and here's your action plan. They're just looking for somebody to hear them and see them and witness them. And that is why I became a root cause therapist, so that I could do that for women who are so ready to be in their power, so ready to be those trailblazers, so ready to drive their business and career and life forward, but are still battling these wounds and triggers and echoes of who they used to be. This is why I became this person, so that I could be that person for you, because I had that person in my therapist, and it was funny. She was my therapist for a good number of years. And then we realized that actually we could be really great friends. So we took the official break, we followed all the proper rules, and we don't hang out that often because, life, but actually we have such a relationship now because she held space for me to be my fullest self. She always saw me at my highest potential, but without needing to patronize me or be positive. She held space for me to become this version of me. She always held space for it. And that's my job for you. If you choose me to be your root cause therapist, I'm there to hold space for you to step into your highest potential. But I'm not going to hold you to it like it's something you have to get to, like a high jump you have to cross, like a parent or a friend would. I simply am going to hold space for you to express how you really feel, to be how you really are, so that you can give yourself the growth and the room, but also be willing to do the work to become that version of you. And this is where the deep work is so different from personal development. Personal development is a head game, right? Personal development is let me reprogram my brain so I think differently, I act differently and get different results, right? So it's very 3D world. It's very manipulation. When we do the body work, when we shift into the energy, when we shift into how we really feel, and we shift how we really feel at a deep energetic level, we are no longer the person we used to be. When we heal our trauma, when we heal those wounds, when we shift and change and create, and then from there we reprogram our mind, those things combined, that is when we quantum leap. That's when we create magic out of nowhere. That's when we bend reality and we somehow quantum leap into a completely different version of our life. But we can't do that while we remain the same. And this is why having that outside person to create that space for you in order to do that in that deep way is the reason I became a root cause therapist. Because I'm so believe, and I have some really strong beliefs about feminine leadership. And I think right now what you're seeing in the world is a lot of feminine leaders who are basically doing it like a dude, who are not leading from the place of the embodied feminine, are actually in the wounded masculine, but they happen to be female. And I have some strong opinions about how the rise of the divine feminine is about women coming back to themselves and about women embracing the power from softness and embracing their success from an energy of desire and passion rather than the energy of pressure and hustle and performance. And I have strong opinions about women's ability to have it all and what that means to have it all for them, and women's ability to have choice and for them not to feel like every third word they say is being judged or questioned by somebody else. And I have some strong opinions about the sisterhood. And until really women are going to stand up for other women and not constantly be trying to cancel every other woman they see on the internet because she's not as good as her or because she makes you feel shit about yourself, until that changes, I see it as my job to be the sisterhood, to be that feminine leader, to be the person who's saying the things that other people don't want to say, so that you feel safe enough to be the feminine leader you want to be, to create space for you to step into your power and authenticity and the things that you feel strongly about. Because just because you're a lone wolf doesn't mean you have to be alone. And just because, and this is why I've never made a community, because I'm a lone wolf. So I don't join communities. I don't want to make lots of online friends. What I want is a load of individual people who really know who they are, who really know what they want, who are willing to do that inner work. And I'm happy to stand side by side with them. And so communities for me are about creating by byproduct. As a lone wolf myself, there are lots of people who are not meant to be lone wolves who create beautiful communities of lots of people who agree together. And I think that's wonderful. It's not for me. I want to create a dynamic of lots of individual powerhouse women who are doing their thing on their own, creating from their own space. And from that place, they will build sisterhood, because everybody feels safe to be themselves without the validation of others, without other people needing to say, yes, that's a good idea. But because I am reflecting back to you all the power that you have, because you are doing the deep work to shift and change and rearrange at an energetic and emotional level. And this is the magic of root cause therapy, my friends. So if you want to find out more about root cause therapy, I'm going to put the link on the screen, lucysuperfox.com/RCT. It tells you how the therapy works, what you can dive into, a ton of client testimonials, and more than anything, you can book a free discovery call to see how it would be a fit for you. So I have 3 dogs, but I am a lone wolf, and I know that you are too. So if you love this episode, it resonated, and you'd love to share it with someone, I would be highly, highly grateful. Every single person that this podcast reaches and touches allows them to feel seen, heard, and a little bit more supported, which in this world, we couldn't do with enough of. So I hope you enjoyed this episode. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and share, and I'll see you on the next one.